Right, so what we have here is the Muc Off tubeless tape, and that's what I'm going to fit to my rim. So this is a 25mm tape, and what they basically recommend is that you match the width of this tape to the internal width of your rim. So my rim is a 2.5, and that's why I've got the 25mm tape. So yeah, we're just going to start with that. Just going to open it. And what you get is some instructions with it, and these are called like seal tape. So when you go all the way around the rim, you basically put that on the join if you want to do it that way. So there is that, and then this is basically 10 meters of tape. It's kind of expensive, I guess, for what it is, but if it does a good job, then I think it's worth it. First thing you're going to want to do is take your rim, I guess, and then we're going to take get the air out of this. We're going to take the tyre off, and then we'll go from there. Yeah, I would kind of hope that most people know this bit, but yeah, just going to basically press on that valve until we can break the tyre from the bead. Once you've got enough air out. There we go. So there's a hole there now. And what we can do is just push that into the centre area, all the way around the wheel. Just be careful if someone's run like tubeless, because there will be like tubeless sealant in this. So yeah, I'm just going to take that off, and then what you have to do is clean the wheel up. So you have to remove any tape, residue, anything like that. You want a bare metal wheel before you install basically any of this tape. So yeah, we'll get onto that. Yeah, so as you might be able to see, this one's quite nasty because it's got a load of sealant in there, but it's got a tubeless bit of tape in there, but the tubeless tape was a little bit too wide for this one because I could only find it in a 29, and I kind of needed a 27. I just couldn't find it. But yeah, obviously yours will probably be a bit different. Oops. We're going to just clean everything up and then remove the tape. You're going to need to remove the valve as well. So if you've already got a setup there, maybe you've got inner tube, but on this one we're going to remove the tubeless valve here. And what I'm doing, I've got a 29er, and I just find it's a little bit of a slog, so I'm fitting this wheel, which is a 27.5. So it's going for a little bit of a mullet, hopefully to save a bit of weight and improve basically the acceleration of the bike. This tubeless tape is quite easy to remove, so that's a good thing really. You can just hopefully just without damaging the tape, and just get a little screwdriver right behind it. And then once you've got that, you can just pull that off. If you've got one where somebody's used Gorilla tape on here, you're going to have a lot of fun getting it off. I find sometimes if you use a hairdryer, you can basically get the residue off. The tape will come off easy enough, but you'll be left with a lot of sticky residue from the Gorilla tape and your hairdryer or alcohol spray, and that will eat into it. There's another thing called Goo-Gone, which is like this orange citric based spray, which is actually developed for like stickers and stuff like that. That works pretty well, but yeah, it's very time consuming to remove Gorilla tape, which is exactly why I never use it. So yeah, once your rim is nice and clean, you can get on to installing the Muc Off tape. Yeah, so what I've done is got it as clean as I could. It's kind of important, obviously, if you have residue on there, if you have tape, then the new tape that you put down isn't going to stick as well, and it has to be dry as well. So what I tend to use is this stuff, which is not labelled, but it's called IPA, so it's alcohol spray. So we spray a bit on there, you can see a little patch there, and after a while it will basically just evaporate. So that's why it's good for bike stuff, because it just disappears by itself. So yeah, what they want you to do is they want you to start from the opposite end to the valve hole. So if I can actually find the valve hole, there it is. Up here, they want you to start the tape basically 180 degrees away from it. And obviously, when you do them, don't do it over the spoke holes to begin with. Start in the middle somewhere. I don't mind doing it on these joins actually, because you're going to overlap it probably to over here anyway. They want you to do kind of like a 15mm overlap, so yeah, I'm probably just going to start here just to be safe. So What we'll do is grab the tape, see if we can find the end of it somewhere. There we go. And I think it was about £11 for the 10-metre roll. And I don't think it matters what width you get, the price seems to be the same. And what we're going to do is just apply that there. Like so. And you want to try to centralise that as best you can, really. And then what you want to do is just hold it and basically pull on the tape and stretch it and move the tape kind of up and down to centralise it all. I think this is probably kind of awkward camera angle, but better than the last one. So I'm starting the tape again. The valve hole is somewhere. Why are they so difficult to find? There we go. So we're just going to flip that rim 180 degrees, and I'm going to start over here this time. And it should be a bit easier because I can see down on it now. We want to go right central between those two spokes, holes there, so that when we come to overlapping, we're not anywhere near them. It's just something I like to do. I don't think it's necessarily needed. And we're just going to put our thumb on that and just pull on the tape. And just work your way around like that, basically. And if you want to adjust it, just pull it up. And you know, if you want to realign it. But because I've got the 25mm tape for a 25mm rim, it doesn't really give me much option for alignment because it's just sitting in the right place anyway. It's only when you get like really thin tape that's too small, I guess. So that's going quite well so far. All seems kind of easy. I've never used this tape before. If you've seen my Tubeless video, you'll see that I use Tesa tape. And Tubeless is like a new thing as well, so I'm just experimenting with a few new options just to see. And these tapes are very strong, so you can really pull on them in that kind of direction. I probably don't even need to put my thumb there, but it's just something that I do. What I should have done is measured it as well, and then I can give you an idea. I'll do that after. How far a 10-metre roll is going to go. I'd imagine this rim is probably like 2 metres around, so. So far, so good. Seems kind of easy to use at this stage anyway. And then when you get to the end bit here, which is which way? That way on the camera. You want to overlap it by a little bit. They recommend, what is it, 10 to 15mm. And then you put one of those stickers across. Found me scissors, and we've got one of the strips as well. I'm guessing when you buy different width of tape, you also get a different width for the strip to sit into there. So yeah, like they said, need about 10 to 15mm. I'm just going to do what I feel is a good one. I'm going to go to about there. I guess they say 10-15mm because it uses less tape, so you get more out of it. I don't really plan on doing any more of these anytime soon. What I would do is just pull that. There we go. And then what they say is just run around the tape. So you're going to go in the direction that you laid it down. And you're just going to try and get rid of any air bubbles that are in it. And the other thing as well, once you mount the tyre and put pressure in it, the pressure will push this tape against the rim anyway. Because what I tend to find is when you do tubeless tape and then you take the tyre off for the first time after you've been using it for a while, the tape's normally pretty much kind of perfectly in place. That's what happens with the Tesa tape anyway. So yeah, I'm not massively going to try and get all the air bubbles out. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I mean, it's not perfect, but like I said, the air pressure will sort that out. And then this is your join. So we're going to take our sticker, and that just kind of works as like a plaster, I guess, over the join. Which, I don't know, doesn't seem necessary to me, but that's what they give you. I guess that stops it peeling off. And then we know now that we fitted that, the valve hole will be over here somewhere. Here's what I've got is a little baby Allen key, and they're ball ended. So I just want to make a tiny little hole. Well, it's pretty strong stuff. It's taken quite a lot to push through there. I'm just going to go up a few sizes. The best thing would be to have a hole punch and just cut out a perfectly round hole for your valve to sit into. But yeah, I could just be a bit overboard going over the top with this bit. It's just I've done quite a few with the Tesa tape, and yeah, varying results with that kind of stuff. So once we've got a hole made there, if we can show that on the camera, you can kind of see it's not really what I wanted. It's a bit of a split. It's like a cut. And what you want is a round circle. You don't want these little edges here. I don't know if this GoPro will pick that up, but yeah, you don't want little flaps. But yeah, we'll see what it looks like with a valve. So we just grab our valve. And actually having the valve the right size is pretty important as well. So we get the old flip-flops in the shop. Here we go. Oh, what's in this drawer? Load of brake spares. There we go. Is that too close? Yeah, I think so. Oh, I'll just try and explain it. What you want to do is have this part of the rubber sitting quite far into the hole. So we grab a little screwdriver. You kind of want the rubber up to about there to sit inside of the rim. If it's just sitting in there a little bit, it's not, well, potentially it won't seal properly. So yeah, you really want to have not only the right hole size, because this is for a Schrager valve, it's already been drilled out, but the right kind of angle on your valve and the right type of valve. One that's seated, or is going to seat quite nice and low in there. What I'm going to do is just move that. I'm just going to actually turn it, because it's got a lot of thread on the outside. I'm just going to turn it and push down into the tape. And then hopefully we get a nice kind of cut out and it doesn't split too much. So grab the little nut to secure it on there. And I'm going to show you what that looks like afterwards. So yeah, if we can try and get a bit of light on there. It's got a hard angle to show. But you can see the valve sits quite deep into the rim, so that's important there. Just to make sure that's seated well. So yeah, that's pretty much it. We'll fit our tyre and then we'll blow it up. It's a cross-country tyre basically, Onza, sorry. Lynx, I believe it is, or Canis, one of the two, that's what I had anyway. Obviously it's directional, so it goes that way, and your disc brake's always on the left, so we know this is the right way. I'm just going to fit this tyre and use the old sealant that was on there, because it's not very old. And then what I'll do is line up the logo with the valve. And the other thing is this tape seems very slippery, so once it's got a bit of sealant on there, you can move the tyre quite easily to line stuff up if that's what you want to do. I'm going to try not to spill a load of sealant. Here we go. So that's one side there. Right, can we do this on the camera without making a big load of mess and actually getting something of footage into the shot? Luckily I think these tyres are quite easy to get on. It's quite a light casing on there, so it's quite flexible. It's just someone's hand basically in a tyre. And there we go. So that's essentially ready to be pumped up. In terms of like using a hand pump, I'll give it a go. I do have a tubeless pump, and generally hand pumps don't really give you enough air at once, but it's always worth a shot just to show you that it's actually possible, but no promises with that one. Just roll it with basically the first attempt of just a hand pump. I have had some luck doing it this way, but yeah, there's a reason that I bought the tubeless pump. So we chuck that on there and pump like crazy and see how far we can get. And I think to break the bead you're probably going to have to put quite a lot in there. I mean, it's saying that I've got 65 psi in there on that dial, which is absolute rubbish because it's really spongy. I've got about 20. Yeah, I think you need about 40-50 psi to break the bead. There we go, so it did actually pump up. It's going to get different. Chuck a different pump on there. That one's rubbish. But that's the other thing when you use sealant. You can sometimes get into the pump through the ends and then kind of ruins it a bit. So what do we got in there? About 20. And then what you want to do is check we can get that into a better shot. So there's a little lip and line on this wheel, on the tyre, and just make sure that's like the right or the same size all the way around. Make sure it's sticking out about the same amount, and then you know your tyre's kind of mounted nicely. Whew, a bit out of breath from pumping, but and in terms of tubeless sealant and stuff like that, tend to find if you just drop the wheel down, all the sealant's going to go to the bottom, and then I shake it like that because you really want to kind of spread it around the casing of the tyre. But yeah, the fact that it pumped up that easy is probably just a bit of luck with the tyre and wheel combination. But like I said, the main area where you're ever going to hear any leakages is always going to be on the valve, or tends to be on the valve. And I think if I hold that right against the camera, you should be able to hear there's nothing coming out. So yeah, see how that gets on. If I do have any issues with it, which I doubt that I will, I'll put that in the description at a later date. But yeah, so far seems alright.